Right, we've just done our next big interview with former private wealth lawyer and tax expert Steph Brobby. That's going to hopefully be up next week. But for now, check out this highlight from our last big interview.
On the systemic issue, you made a really good point earlier when we were chatting about how COVID has accelerated a lot of this stuff. You may have said this before, but I thought it was just a really good illustration of
so we've covered this on the channel, but we'll go through it again, which is like why COVID has increased inequality so badly, right? Which is economically, what COVID was basically banning rich people from spending money. That is economically what it did. Because if you're an ordinary person or a poorer person, the vast majority of your expenditures are on rent, food, mortgage, bills, and you still have to pay all of those things in COVID. So your expenditures don't really go down that much. Maybe you can't go to the pub, you save a little bit. But if you're a very wealthy person, your expenditures are largely on luxuries. Expensive holidays or expensive, meals, lots of expensive things. That all got banned. So what that meant was, during COVID, we basically banned the spending of the rich. Now, in normal times, there's a sort of circular flow of money, which is when ordinary people pay their mortgage or their rent, it goes to rich people. But rich people have very high incomes and they spend a lot of money, which drives the wages of ordinary people. But if you stop rich people spending money, ordinary people still have to pay the rent and they still have to pay the mortgage. So instead of money flowing around in a circle, it's just flowing from ordinary families to the rich and staying there. And then these guys have lost their incomes. So what happened was the government substituted the incomes with printed money. And then from the perspective of an ordinary person, the situation seems the same. Because you're getting an income, it's not from the rich anymore, it's from the government, so you feel you're unaffected. But that money is then flowing to the rich and just staying there, and just piling up and up and up and up and up. So from the very beginning of COVID, you could predict that at the end of COVID, it's going to look like we're just reopening the economy, but we're not. We're reopening the economy with a massive amount of cash in the bank accounts of rich people. And it's huge, right? Because the amount of money printed was £450 billion, which is £10,000 per adult, but it all gets accumulated by the rich. So if that all goes to the top 10%, we're talking about £100,000 cash extra in the bank account of every single rich person in the country. And then afterwards, when inflation blows up, everybody's like, how did that happen? It's like everyone's sort of confused about it, which is driving me mad. And I think sort of the big thing which I'm trying to push at the moment on the channel is to make people aware, look, this is not some natural disaster. This has happened because we allowed the rich to profit enormously from COVID. They've got way more money. It's government printed money. That's pushing price up and that's making your life harder. And the obvious way to deal with that is to tax this enormous amount of money they've made. But for some reason, nobody's talking about this enormous amount of money. The rich have more money than they've ever had before. Enormously more money than they've ever had before. And we have a crisis now, which seriously is going to mean ordinary families can't feed their kids and heat their homes. And yet the government is doing nothing about taxing the rich. In fact, they're raising taxes, national insurance, which is a tax only on workers, which excludes the income of billionaires.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
It drives me mad. Yeah.
That's a great monologue, by the way. You should clip that and just put that on his Twitter. That's brilliant.